Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You open the fridge. There's nothing there. So what's it going to be? Greasy pizza? Sad drive-through burgers? Dish by Blue Apron is for nights like that. These are the pre-made meals of your dreams. At least 20 grams of protein. No artificial flavors or colors. No chopping, no cleanup, no guilt. Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Hello and welcome to 31 Days of Terror 2025, and we are on day number 7, and I have 3 spooky stories for you today, and our first story comes from Quintin. The house on the Crumb Drive farm is long gone, but the memories it left behind have never left me. I spent half my childhood there. One evening my stepfather picked me and a boy named Adolf up from boarding school and dropped us at the house alone. Later that night, strange things began. When we spoke or made noise, it sounded like a crowd nearby, people laughing, voices like there was some kind of event or gathering. But when we went quiet, everything would fall dead silent. No direction, no origin, just nothing. We eventually fell asleep. I later found out that my mother had tried to come in during the night, but the door was locked. She broke a window with a brick to get in. My stepfather wanted to punish me for not opening up, but I hadn't heard a thing, and that wasn't the only time. One night, after a drunken fight, he tried to hit my sister. My mother grabbed her, jumped in the car, and as they were leaving, he threw something at them and shattered a window. He passed out in a chair in the kitchen. My bedroom shared a wall with it, and the kitchen light was still on. Suddenly I heard a knock against the wall next to my bed. I froze. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. The knock grew louder. It started sounding like someone was pounding on the wall. I could feel it through the bricks. My room was dimly lit by a blue globe light. It gave the atmosphere of early dusk. Another time I woke up to the sound of glass breaking. I went back to sleep. The next morning I found out a window in my sister and stepsister's room had been smashed. They said they had been lying in bed with the curtains open, secretly smoking, when something jumped through the window, ran into the kitchen and came back, and then jumped out again the same way. They claimed it had human-like hands. My sister also once said that she'd been yanked by the hair out of bed. There was one Friday I returned home from boarding school to find my mom painting a room. The carpet was scorched. Something had happened. The police had even been by to investigate. Part of the house had been rebuilt over the ruins of an older structure, one destroyed in the Anglo-Boer War during the scorched earth policy from 1899 to 1902. The farm used to belong to the Kruger family before being passed down and eventually was inherited by my stepfather's family. We moved away from Crumdry to another farm at the end of 1999. The haunting stopped, but the fighting didn't. Still, that night, New Year's Eve 1999, was the first peaceful night I remember in years. This is all real. You could fact check the people, the history, and even the land, but the house itself, it's gone now. Whatever lived there stayed behind. I wonder if, Quintin, the kind of toxic environment of fighting and violence, etc., I wonder if that contributed to the energy in the household, because there obviously was an energy in the house, or there was something ghostly going on in the house. And, you know, we regularly hear those stories of people hearing what sounds like a party in the house elsewhere, which is really, really a fascinating thing to happen. And it does speak to some sort of like stone tape theory or, you know, residual haunting or whatever. But the haunting of, you know, something smashing through the window and running into the kitchen and running back again, and your sister being dragged out of bed by the hair, and, you know, something setting fire to the carpet in the bedroom, like, that's all really violent. You know, the knocking, the pounding on the wall, it all feels very aggressive. And I wonder if that's reflective of the energy that was in the home at the time. Like, negative energy allows for negative things to thrive in an environment. And, you know, I'm sort of a little bit stuck on the, whatever it was, smashing through the window, running into the kitchen and then back out again with human hands. Because I know that, like, animals get into your house and whatever, but would an animal smash through a window? I'm not sure that it would.
Dude, did you order...
The new iPhone 17 Pro? Got it from Verizon, the best 5G network in America. I've never looked so good.
You look the same.
But with this camera, everything looks better, especially me.
You haven't changed your hair in 15 years. Selfies? Check, please.
New and existing customers can get the new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever. With eligible phone trade-in and unlimited ultimate. Any condition guaranteed. Best 5G source root metrics data, United States, 1H 2025. All rights reserved. Trade-in and additional terms apply for all offers. See Verizon.com for details.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows home so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
Most security systems react after a break-in begins. That's too late. Simply Safe is different. It's proactive. ActiveGuard Outdoor Protection uses AI-powered cameras to spot suspicious activity before criminals get inside. Live monitoring agents can see, speak to, and scare off intruders in real time, quickly calling police if needed. To get 50% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/podcast. That's simplysafe.com/podcast for 50% off. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
A mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
And our second story today comes from Kim. My 4-year-old this morning, without any prompt, told me this. Mum, when I was asleep, I saw when I died, and I was looking down from the sky, but then the doctor fixed me, and I wasn't dead anymore. And when I asked him to tell his dad what he had told me, he said, I put my hand in and it was really hot. Could this be a reincarnation dream? I've had a reoccurring reincarnation dream for years where I'm in my home, and I can see it all in vivid detail, and it feels so comforting and familiar to be there. Except it isn't actually my house, or any house I've ever been in this life anyway. We haven't done a reincarnation episode on the podcast in ages, and I love them. They are episodes that always are like a roller coaster for me, where I'm like, oh my God, this is 100% proof of reincarnation. And then I'm like, oh, is it though? And then I always end up sort of somewhere in the middle where I'm like, I don't know whether it is or not. But I do find the stories of children who talk about things like, I was in the sky, I was asleep, the doctors fixed me, like those kind of stories, I find those really compelling. Or when children are like, yeah, I died in an accident before, and then I went up into the sky, and then I waited to be in your tummy. Like, you hear children say shit like that all the time. It's crazy. And I guess when kids say these things, there's kind of two options, which is A, it's just imaginative play, which even still is incredible that that's how children's brains work. And B, it's, something that they're remembering from some semblance of a past life, which is equally incredible. And I do think your dream is really interesting, to be dreaming that you're in a home and it's so vivid and comfortable, but you've never been there before in your life. That is fascinating. And I will regularly have dreams of a place where I'll dream of, you know, my home, and it won't be the same place. But it doesn't feel like it is a real house that exists or a real house that I've been in, if you know what I mean. So that feeling of comfort and that feeling of, you know, this is familiar and this is where I'm meant to be is really interesting. And our final story today comes from P. I'm writing to share the true and terrifying story of a haunting that unfolded in my own home. A story that began with a forgotten Nazi prophet in my family tree and a cursed book that almost cost me my life. Back in 2009, I had a near-death experience after working as a humanitarian in West Africa, after which I had come to faith and continued my work in Africa. But in 2017, I began to have spiritual visions. I had one in particular that was terrifying, involving a demonic portal into my family, and that something was trying to attack my daughter. Then came the most chilling vision. A red book, and my grandfather's voice, clear as day, commanding me to burn it. It's an abomination, he said. The message was so strong I took a train to my parents' home in Yorkshire and prayed that if it was real, I would know. I did. Out of hundreds of old books in my father's study, I reached straight for one. A red volume called the Aryan Testament. I opened it and immediately realised this was no ordinary book. It was a worship text, proclaiming Adolf Hitler as the second coming of Christ. I stole the book from my father's shelf, and after seeking advice from various experts and priests, and began to research who my great-uncle Jim really was. I had never known this part of my family history. My great-uncle was called James Larat Battersby, one of the UK's most notorious Nazi sympathisers, founder of the fascist religious group, the Aryan Brotherhood, and the author of that very book. Interned during World War II alongside Oswald Mosley and the infamous Thomas Baker, he proclaimed himself a prophet of Hitler, and later died by suicide in one of the most violent and dramatic ways possible, leaping into the paddle wheels of a ferry where he was decapitated after proclaiming himself to be a Christian martyr. With the book in my home, I began to have more and more visions of my grandparents, of Jim, and events at the time, and I was shown that the book had been written under full demonic possession, that the words weren't Battersby's alone, but channeled directly. Eventually I decided that I would burn it myself, so I did, foolishly, and on the balcony of my South London council flat. From that moment my life descended into chaos. For 6 months it was like living in a horror film. Things flew off shelves and electronic devices malfunctioned constantly. My car failed without explanation. Thick black sludge bubbled up from the sinks in the bathtub. I began hearing voices hundreds of times a day, telling me I was worthless, that I should kill myself, that my daughter didn't love me. I woke up with scratches, bruises and pressure marks on my neck and woke up frequently unable to breathe. I lost job opportunities, I relapsed physically and I became bedbound. My mother, an atheist and a skeptic, came to stay with me and witnessed the haunting, me screaming in my sleep, moving like I was possessed. We lived like that for 3 months, with everything going on around us. One day my 4-year-old daughter overheard our whispered conversations and said, "I know what you are talking about. You're talking about the punting ghost." And when I asked her what a punting ghost was, she replied knowingly, "That's the monster that sits on Mummy's back at night." We were horrified, and I think that's the moment we started desperately looking for help. I tried everything, church exorcisms, African deliverance services, prayer groups, online ministries, but nothing worked. Eventually, my parents called the only relatives they knew who worked with energy and spiritual healing, and with their help, I connected to a powerful team of intuitives, including a fearless heathen shaman. It took 4 of them to finally remove the entity from my life. I felt it leave my body. My mother did as well. It took me a year before I could speak about it without crying. Even now I struggle to explain the layers, the spiritual battle, the historical evil, the ancestral silence. But I know this, the book The Aryan Testament is real. It still circulates today amongst the Aryan Brotherhood membership that lingers on. It is truly an abomination for those who believe in God, and I feel like I paid the price for removing that dark inheritance from my family. Oh, this story is all sorts of intense. For a period of time, I was quite intrigued by my family tree. I'm English on one side and Irish on the other, and I was always like, I'd love to do one of those like Who Do You Think You Are type TV shows where they delve into your family tree and they find out loads of stuff about you and whatever. I don't know if I want to know. I don't know if I want to know, to be honest. I feel a bit like, if I've got a really dark family tree, I just want to pretend that I didn't. You know what I mean? I just want to not know about it. And I can't imagine it felt good to find out about your family history, that your great uncle was James the Rat Battersby. And I had to look him up, right? I my knowledge of like Nazi history is pretty decent. But you forget that, of course, there were Nazi sympathizers, you know, all over the world. It wasn't like Nazis against the rest of the world. I mean, you know, technically it was and whatever. But like, there, of course, were people who were like, maybe they've got a point, which blows my mind. I mean, and the fact that there are Nazis knocking around to this day, you know, people who are openly like, yeah, I agree with Hitler, etc., etc. But of course, you forget that there were people of other nationalities who were openly espousing these views at the time. And I don't know that much about the Aryan Brotherhood. When I was looking up these people after reading this story, I was like, oh God, you're all awful. And I will say that there's no part of me that wants to like delegitimize your experience or minimize your experience, not in the slightest. Because it sounds like it was horrific. Like things flying off shelves, everything malfunctioning, you know, things bubbling up in the sink, hearing voices. All of those things sound awful, terrifying, petrifying. And then for your daughter to be like, oh, that's the monster that sits on my mummy's back at night. Oh, I'd be like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to every religion. And he's like, now I know I haven't been the best Christian. Like, that'd be me, because I'd be trying everything to figure out what was going on in my house. I do think, however, like, you know, in terms of Battersby writing this book and you having a vision that it was written under full demonic possession, I'm not trying to say that you didn't have that vision, not at all, not in the slightest, that's not what I'm saying. But I do think shitty people do shitty things, you know. Demons or no demons, shitty people do shitty things. And whatever the reason for why these things happened, sounds like you went through it big time. And I am just glad that you were able to find somebody that was able to help you, because it must have been absolutely terrifying. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you to Quintin, Kim and P for sending in your stories. Remember, if you would like to send in your story, you can do so by emailing it to reallifeghoststoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out the website reallifeghoststoriespodcast.com. And if you are desperate for some extra content, you can subscribe to the Patreon. That is patreon.com/reallifeghoststories, where for $5 a month or $2 a month, you can get access to heaps of extra content, as well as every single main and mini episode completely ad-free. And on that note, I shall see you next time.
Dude, did you order...
The new iPhone 17 Pro? Got it from Verizon, the best 5G network in America. I've never looked so good.
You look the same.
But with this camera, everything looks better, especially me.
You haven't changed your hair in 15 years. Selfies? Check, please.
New and existing customers can get the new iPhone 17 Pro, designed to be the most powerful iPhone ever. With eligible phone trade-in and unlimited ultimate. Any condition guaranteed. Best 5G source root metrics data United States 1H 2025. All rights reserved. Trade-in and additional terms apply for all offers. See Verizon.com for details.